Say goodbye to paper forms and data entry duplication. This attendance system is offered through Arkansas Public School Resource Center and is known as Attendance CPA, which stands for Collection, Processing, and Analysis. So let's jump right into the campus manager's role in collecting the data. The first thing we get started, I will send out an email once you sign up, and it will go to all of your campus managers. I sent to 4 users. You can see the 000, 001, 2, and 3. We're going to focus on 0 and 1. They match up to these campuses down here below. There's one email sent to multiple users, but this user, 0 user, only has access to the 0 campus. Same thing for 1, and so on. And this is how it's received. So here, this is user 0 email. And notice there's only one attachment or link that shows up, and that is because this user has been given rights to only this campus when they start. So here's their list of users, and this is the lookup tab. It opens to the lookup tab first. This is read only. You'll notice the little padlock on the lookup, and it's colored in blue. The padlock on the report colored in red. Those colors and those locks mean there's really no data entry to be input here. This is what feeds the drop-down list for the data entry periods. And so in the periods is where the actual data entry will be done by the campus attendance manager. The lookup sheet for the campus manager is very useful in that it will identify the start date and stop date for the contract of each individual. That way you can reference it and know for what date manager will have to input their apps. Notice the green cell, it just indicates that this individual's time is to be recorded in hours. But let's get started on the actual entry. So let's say it's period 1, and period 1 is defined as July 1 through July 31st. That's the attendance period. This information is due, meaning the campus manager must have completed all their entries for this period by the end of the month at 10 a.m. Just wanted to note, if the name cell is green, record in hours. That's just another indicator, a helper for that individual. So let's just select on Captain America. And let's say Captain America, he never gets sick, but he was on school business. If he uses school business, then this lights up. This is just a helper field. Again, it can be left blank, but if it's school business or professional development, this will light up. It's yellow, and you can select from a customized list. This one is not restricted to the drop down, so if you wanted to type in something custom, you can. Now, just that little red dot just means that you did not choose something from the list, so it's not a problem. You can put that in. The date, you can double click, and so it defaults to today's calendar of what we're currently in, and that is this time period, so there's no problems here. If we were to select today, no problem. It's already done, and we can move on. Let's say that we accidentally, let's say we were going to, it was Friday, or that Captain America was going to be out, and we accidentally just put 23. That will light up as orange, telling the campus manager that that is a weekend day. That's a Saturday or a Sunday. This particular campus, district administration, does have individuals that may have their time recorded in hours. So therefore, there's a longer list. If it's a campus that only has half day, full day, that's all that will show up in the list and all that will be allowed to input. Notice this only allows half and full day increments. There are no quarter days put in for this. But if this individual is not recorded in hours, and let's say it was a full day, we just select one. The remarks field has some restrictions that are defined by eFinance. eFinance will only allow for 20 characters. So if I was to just put more than 20, it will prompt you and say that's a maximum 20 and it has to be alphanumeric. So no special characters, no periods, basically a number or a letter of the alphabet, and no more than 20 of that combination. You can have spaces. That's basically the only other thing you can have is spaces in that field. Again, not a required field for remarks, but it may help for your tracking. So that's the entry. So let's say Hawkeye is actually time is to be recorded in hours. So when his name is selected, it turns green. And let's say Hawkeye is going to be out on vacation, and so therefore this does not light up yellow because it's vacation. It only lights yellow if school business or professional development is selected here. And let's say he's going to be out for a full week next week. You have to put an entry for each date, but I'm going to show you a quick way to do that faster. Right? So no remarks there because it's his vacation. He's going to do whatever he wants to. So I can just highlight. You can highlight the entire one if you want, in case you did have remarks. And I'm just going to hit Command C on a Mac or Control C on Windows. You could actually go to Edit Copy if you wanted to. And then I want to select the next 4 rows and hit Paste. So now all I have to do is change the date. Well, since they're in a series, I can just click on the first one, drag down, and 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29 is recorded for Hawkeye. Another one, I'll have to look at it. Let's say you know the last name and the last name starts with J. Well, there's no one in my list with that. So last name starts with B. So these are all the names that start with B. In your system, rather than the superheroes that you see listed today, it will actually be last name, first name. But you can just select from the B. If you continue to type, say EA, well, then that narrows the list. So then you can select Beast. And Beast is going to be on personal sick leave, and that doesn't light up yellow, so we don't have to enter that. And let's say, well, he's supposed to be out August 4th. You cannot enter Beast's leave for August 4th in this section. This is period 1. Period 1 is defined by July 1st to July 31st. Now you can go ahead and enter, so let's say they're notifying you of a personal sick leave in advance. So the campus user can just delete that entry, go to August, paste that entry that they had started, find August 4th, put in the day, and they're done. So you can, that's really all the campus manager has to do is just stay in the proper period and make sure they do in completion. So sometimes you might see, we're going to show this in completion. I'm going to leave some things incomplete because that has to do with the both the campus manager and the district manager to help them identify any kind of incomplete entries and get those corrected before import and payroll processing. So let's put one in for Bullseye. I just told them I'm going to be out on the 22nd. It's going to be for a full day, and they did not indicate that. They're going to have to indicate what type of day they are taking. But for whatever reason, the campus manager did not put this in. So we're just going to leave that blank for now. Say goodbye to paper forms and data entry duplication. Welcome to this video on attendance CPA. This portion will be directed towards the district manager of attendance and their role with payroll processing. So the district manager has access to the entire schools, but for the most part during payroll after the period is ended, the import file is where you will live. So let's open that up, and we can see it defaults to the period. This is what you would select. If you are in the period 7, you would go to period 7. I know we made some entries in period 2, just one appears here for that user. But we're going to work in period 1. And you can read this in the yellow. This gives you the instructions once your file is correct. But down at the bottom, notice there are 2 files you work with. So the blue file is the actual one that you will use for to create your import file that will be uploaded to eFinance to process all the attendance for the period for your payroll. However, we check this one first, and we notice that there is a flag, and that is this pink box that is on row number 9 for this employee ID. Now that doesn't tell us a whole lot, so if we want to get it corrected, we want to get this corrected before we go through the import process to avoid having to make corrections after it's been in eFinance. So good data in, good data out. And how we do that is we go to the yellow tab at the bottom for the error check. This is a duplicated model, but it has some information that the import file cannot include, but it helps you identify what is wrong. And so you just make sure you're on the proper period, which it is on 1. And we notice that that employee ID matches up to Bullseye, who's at the administration office. So Bullseye for 722, the district manager needs to contact the campus manager and say, I do not have the type of absence input for Bullseye on this date. And I believe that one was the Google. Now I'm back in as the attendance manager. Notice my account 00. And sure enough, they did not enter what type of absence Bullseye was out on 722. They can easily rectify that, and let's say it's school business, and let's say it had to do with athletics. It was an archery event. So the change has been made by the campus manager. And lo and behold, it self-corrects the error that existed over here. So here's bullseye, row number 9, and it automatically populated the proper pay code after the selection was made in the campus manager sheet. So now we can go back to the import file, no red. Now that the data is clean and fully submitted, there's no omissions, the district manager can follow the instructions in the yellow cell. It says select your period, which we've done. Then go to File, Download as CSV. Let's do that step. File, Download, comma separated values, or CSV. That will download to your computer. If you're on a Windows or a Mac, it usually goes to the Downloads folder unless you have that set differently. So I have that open, and there's my import file. The next step says to open the CSV file with Notepad or a text editor and delete the top row that includes period information. So I'm going to open with text edit. For Windows users, that would be Notepad. And what it's referring to is this very top row with the instructions. I guess that's actually, if I widen it out, it's still the first row. It's just showing up as 2 because it's wrapping. But I want to delete that and then delete the blank so that it just has my headers and my data. Save, and you're ready to import into eFinance. Those steps will be provided by AppScan. They have step-by-step tutorial. You can also contact me for assistance with that and creating your template for the first time if you need help. Thank you for your time.